I've had a few people ask me how I make the thumbnails for my videos, so here we go. Now I use a free graphics program called Gimp. It's available for Windows and Linux. God knows about Apple. I never use Apple computers, so I'm not particularly worried about that. So let's just fire up Gimp, and here we are. And what I do is I look for things. I'm just about to do a video on the Euro, so this is my process for making that thumbnail. I've found a background that I like, and so I'm going to copy that and paste it straight into Gimp. Now at the moment it's quite big, it's 2200. I also want to rotate it a bit because I just don't like the shape of the coins in the middle, and I want to change that, and the easiest way to change that is by rotation. So if I click over here on the rotate tool and on the layer, as you can see, I can rotate it in any direction I want until I get something I think that looks right. And what I want is I want those coins in the center to actually line up so that they're roughly horizontal. Don't ask me why, I just feel that that makes a better composition. So here we go, it's going to do that for me. Right, now the next thing I want to do is I want to crop it because it is too big, and I don't want to scale it down because I'll lose all the detail. So I'm kind of trying to remember that up in this right hand corner here, left hand corner, I'm going to have like a red flash, which is what I normally put in to try and lead the viewer's eye. Now it could be red, could be green, could be some other colour, but in this case it's going to be red. So that looks about the sort of size that I want it to be. So I then go up to the menu, image menu, crop to selection, and there we go. That's that. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to put in my red flash in the corner. So I'm going to change the colour, make it a nice bright red. I'm going to use the marquee selection tool and just click outside the image, and I'm going to draw some points that define that red corner. In fact, that's a bit too small. Sometimes I also do a red line, and I'll do that in exactly the same way. So there we go. And I'll choose paint, and paint is going to paint everywhere that I've selected. The paintbrush, however, is a bit too small. So if I double click on the paintbrush, brings up the tool options, I can make it a solid brush, and I can make the size a lot bigger. There we go. So there we have it. That's the first step. Now what I want to do is I want to put over this, I want to put a Euro symbol. And I might very well reuse this particular thumbnail for several different videos. I don't know. I don't know how many videos I'm going to make on the Euro. So it might just be this one, who knows. So my next thing, I'm going to go back to Google Images, and I'm going to look for a Euro symbol. At the moment I've just got to search Euro, and if I click on sign there, I want a nice sort of 3D-ish Euro symbol. It wants to be fairly straight onto the camera. And can I find one? I might have to create one, who knows. Oh, here we go. That would be a good one. So I'm going to select that, view image, copy image, and go back to Gimp, edit, paste as, new image, because yeah, it's actually already transparent in the background, so that's okay. So I can get rid of that and edit, paste as, new layer, and here it is. And I want that sign to be up here somewhere. I don't want it to obscure too much of the money. It wants to be a bit bigger than that. So where are we? Layer, scale layer. And let's make it a bit bigger. Don't know, something like about a third or a bit more as big again. And maybe it could go a bit bigger. So I'll go out to the layer menu again. Scale layer. Take it up to about 500, I think. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, so that's going to sit there like that. Now I want to make this stand out, and the way to do that is to make the background darker. So I'm going to go into the layers menu. I'm going to select the bottom layer, which is the layer we first worked on with the notes. So stack, select bottom layer, and now anything I do will just affect the bottom layer. I need to change the colour here back to black. Select the airbrush tool and double click on that because I want it to be a soft edged brush, and that's actually about the right size still, so I don't need to change the size of it. I want to drop the opacity to maybe about 50% and get rid of the selection I've got on there, because at the moment that means that the airbrush tool would only work in there. So select none, and here we go. You can see here I am. I'm subtly darkening the area around my euro sign. I'm not going to make it completely black. I'm going to darken it just enough that the euro sign really stands out. Something like that. Now, what I've done so far suggests that, yeah, this video is about Europe, but it doesn't really suggest anything about destruction or about dropping. So what I want is I want something in there, and I've decided to put some nice dramatic flames in there. So if I go back to my friend Google Images, and I'm going to search for translucent flames. And here we've got a bunch of flames. As you can see, all different things. What I'm really looking for is what would be called a texture, I guess, if you were 3Ding, and here we go. This is better, and I want flames that come from the bottom, so this is actually quite a good one if it were in fact translucent, but it's not. However, we can easily make it translucent. In fact, actually this would be even better, but it's got a watermark on it. So I think I'm probably going to be going back to my first choice there. Oh, I quite like this. I quite like this. So I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to go back to Gimp, paste as new image, because this time I'm definitely going to have to do something with it. And what I'm going to have to do is delete all the black. So the first thing to do here is to make sure that we actually have a translucent layer on here, and this is where a lot of people go wrong with Gimp, because they think every layer comes in with some sort of translucency. It doesn't. So let's have a look. Transparency, and you can see that add alpha channel is grayed out. That means that there is a background translucency, which is great. That's just what we want. So now I'm going to go into color select. I'm going to select the black. As you can see, that's not selected enough of it, so I'm going to increase the threshold quite a bit. I'm going to keep going up. That's too far. Something like that. That would be okay. And I'm going to get rid of all that black, and to do that I just simply press the delete key on the keyboard. So there we go. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go out to the select menu, going to select all, then edit menu, and I'm going to copy it. I'm going to go back to my original picture. I'm going to edit, I'm going to paste as a new layer. You can see it's a lot smaller at the moment. Now I can see up here that I'm 1671 wide. So if I go up to layers, I can scale my layer and make the width 1670, like so. Scale it, and here we go. If I select this, which is the move tool, I can move it around, move it down to the bottom. Now what I want to do is I want to brighten this up a bit. So in order to do that, let's just get this synchronized with the edges for a minute. Because there's two things I'm going to do. Firstly, I'm going to brighten this up. Secondly, I'm going to make it slightly translucent. So if I go up to the colors menu at the top here, you can see we've got color balance, colorize, brightness and contrast. First thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take the brightness up. Like that. And the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to change the color balance, going to make it slightly towards the red. Slightly towards, quite a lot I think, towards the yellow. There we go, how's that? And that's a bit better already. So now what I want to do, I'm going to use the arrow keys to move this slightly to the left so that it coincides, and the arrow keys are very good for fine control. Now I'm going to go up to the Windows menu and dockable dialogues, and it's layers that I want. And why do I want layers? Well, I can adjust the opacity. So I can take the opacity down or up as I wish. There's more than one way of doing this, but this is a good way of doing it when you want the whole layer to change. And there we are. I think that will do it. And I think that probably says everything I want to say. So now I want to flatten the image so that I get rid of all the layers in it. And let's have a look at it at a small size, just to make sure we get our point across, because sometimes this doesn't work. We get it wrong. So let's have a look at it at 1/16 size, that's about the size that you'd see it on Google, on YouTube. And yeah, that still gets the image across. You can see that it's about the euro, you can see there's money, you can see there's some burning going on, and that's just about it. So now what I want to do is export it as a JPEG. So up to the file menu, export as, I'm going to stick it on my desktop. And the way that you decide which file type you're going to export is simply by typing in the extension. So this is going to be eurodown.jpg, and it'll ask you what quality you want the file. I never go much above 90, so there we go, and there we have it. And I'm going to discard the changes that were done in Gimp, because all I'm interested in is the exported file. So let's have a look and see what we've got. Where are we? There we go. Open with, might as well use the web browser. There it is. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this and found it useful, and if you have, please like and subscribe. Thank you.